Hello everybody, my name is Chris and welcome to my channel. I have been inspired by this great community. As a viewer, you guys have... I feel like I've been welcomed in with open arms. And I'm so psyched that it exists. It's so much less boring than looking up the one musician that is still in existence that I listen to and maybe getting one piece of news every week. Now I can watch hours and hours of videos every day about something I probably like maybe that much more than music, the comic book. And a little bit about myself, I started collecting comic books in 1987, going to the grocery store, pulling them off the spinner rack. And then a little while later I found the comic book store, and I take the bus over there and I open myself a pull box. And I had that pull box until about 2002, when it was no longer feasible to make the trip back to where I used to live to go to my LCS. So I closed my box, and then I'd get comics every now and then. And then in 2003 I met my wife, and a year later I had my daughter, and so I didn't have as much time for the hobby anymore. So I guess I was more into music then, like heavily more into music then. But then, I'd say 2006, I went to the library with my family, and I was sitting in there being bored, so I wandered around and noticed the teen section, and I saw some graphic novels, so I walked over there and I saw the Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman Trinity by Matt Wagner graphic novel, and I'm like, wow, I haven't read this yet. So I got myself a card and I checked it out and I read it and I thought, well, this is cool. And so I decided to go to the library again the next time my family went and picked up several more from the teen section. And I thought, this is pretty cool. Who would think the library is going to have comic books? But then I checked the catalog, and that was amazing. It was like mind blown. They will order any comic book, especially if it's a superhero comic. And so I was hooked at that point, and I've been reading them at the library ever since 2006 until the present day. Here is my books from November that I've finished. We'll get into those in a minute. And so, because of the community and learning way more about comics coming out in the now, I decided, what the hell? I've been furloughed from my job since March and no end in sight, so I decided I'll collect a few comics a month. And then it's kind of snowballed from there. I'm gonna have to get a new short box next time I'm out. But this is all the new stuff I've gotten since, say, June. And we'll get into this in another video. And here's a small portion of my original collection that I still have. It's sat in storage for years, and I finally got a new place last year that I can call my own, so they're finally back with me. So I gotta get some new boxes for these guys, because the old boxes are in pretty sorry shape, and maybe I'll rebag and board everything, I don't know. But let's get into what I've read this month, courtesy of Snow Isle Public Libraries. Shout out to Snow Isle Public Libraries, great place to get some comics. Although since COVID, I can no longer special order a new comic anytime I want, because COVID sucks and everything's like moving at a snail's pace. But they still get quite a bit of stuff, just I can't special order stuff that I know is coming out in like 3 months anymore, which kind of sucks. But alright, first thing I read here is Bottom Feeders by Ezra Clayton Daniel and Ben Passmore. This was pretty good. This was like a horror with gentrification story. It was pretty funny. It had this organism living inside the walls of this rundown apartment, and kind of started slow, but it got really funny and fairly gruesome towards the end, and I would recommend it. It's pretty funny. And second, we have Doctor Strange: The Oath by Brian K. Vaughan and Marcos Martin, and I really enjoyed this. I think it would make a great Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange versus Big Pharma. And we have Justice League Odyssey Volume 3. I like this. It's a good continuation of the story, although I don't remember what happened in Volume 1 and 2 because it's been a while. But it's kind of cool because Jessica Cruz kind of forms a new Justice League with a Red Lantern and Starfire's sister, so it's kind of like a cobbled together Justice League, and they're trying to go find Darkseid. And then there's like a mystery man who ends up being, spoiler, Orion. And then it kind of ended abruptly. Like, I don't know if they collected the right issues here, but it kind of ended like, oh, it just ends. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends, but it'll probably be like 3 or 4 months before Volume 4 comes out. And then we have The Walking Dead, The Alien. This is also by Brian K. Vaughan and Marcos Martin. And it takes place in the very early days of the zombie apocalypse. And it takes place overseas, and it features a character who is a family member of one of the very main characters in the main series. And I highly recommend it. It's really good. And then we have The Man Who Came Down the Attic Stairs. It comes from a Boom Studios imprint called Arcadia, and it was pretty good. I'd call it Rosemary's Baby plus postpartum depression. Really nice horror vibes. It was pretty good. It's French. It's Céline Loup. So, but I would recommend this. It's really good. I'd also recommend this. It's Strange Skies Over East Berlin. It's a sci-fi horror that takes place before the Berlin Wall came down, and spies go in between East and West Germany, and it gives like a big backstory to the main villain, which is really cool, and overall just excellent. The art is great. I'm really glad I got this one, and thank you, community, for letting me know of its existence, of course. And then we have Absolute Carnage by Donny Cates, the main miniseries, and then we have the Venom tie-ins and the Miles Morales tie-ins. Wow, this was an event that didn't totally fizzle out at the end like all the ones in the 90s and early 2000s that start off like with 2 really strong issues, and then by the end it's just like, who cares, nothing happens. But this one actually was a pretty good ending, and I'm looking forward to King in Black next month. Since I'm collecting new, I'll be able to read it sooner than I usually am. And then I also have Venom Island, which takes place immediately following Absolute Carnage, and it was pretty good. I liked the fake out with where he has a dream that Noel is already there and they chopped off all his limbs. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Kate's Venom run. I'm looking forward to Thor. I just put a hold on that at the library. I should have it before too long, so I'm looking forward to reading Thor. But Donny Cates, wow, he's really good. I've also read Baby Teeth, and other than the fact that it just kind of ends in the middle of the story, and I don't know if it's coming back, I thought it was really good. And then here we have a couple of novels that I was recommended by booktubers on YouTube. First one is called He Started It. It's a thriller. It's twisted. It's about this family on a road trip, and it kind of has a dark ending, which most books don't have a super dark ending like that, but I liked it. It was really good. And then we have The Silent Patient, which is another thriller with one of those kind of twist endings. And for once, I didn't totally call the twist ending, so that was a good thing about it. It's about a woman who murdered her husband and is in a mental hospital, and she will no longer speak to anyone. And then her psychiatrist tries to bring her out of the shell to find out what happened. And it was really good. I'd say both of these, are, 4 out of 5. I like them both. And finally, we have Lock and Key. Keys to the Kingdom. Lock and Key. And finally, we have Lock and Key. And finally, we have Lock and Key. Keys to the Kingdom. Clockworks. And Alpha and Omega. How should I put this? Okay, 3 words. The show sucks. I read the first half of this 5 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. And that was before I even known that Joe Hill was Stephen King's son. I didn't know that till even after I'd read all of Lock and Key. But the show is so disappointing. It's it's semi-faithful, but it is so watered down. I mean, I knew it was bad just from having read the first half years ago, but I'm really glad I finished it. I loved the ending. It made me cry, and I'm looking forward to getting the big library or absolute editions of these for my bookshelf someday in the future. So, thank you for watching my video. If you feel so inclined, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next video.